In a world where trust is shattered and love is tested, one channel dares to uncover the untold stories of heartbreak and betrayal. Welcome to Heartbreak Chronicles, where real-life tales of infidelity are unraveled, secrets exposed, and lives forever changed. Join us as we navigate the complex world of relationships, offering support, understanding, and a place for those who have faced the pain of betrayal. Subscribe to Heartbreak Chronicles now, because every story deserves to be told, and every heartbreak deserves to be heard. Story 1. I think my wife cheated on me, but I have no proof. Married less than a year, both in our mid-20s. She gets concert tickets for Christmas. Naturally, I assume I'm going with her. Nope. She wants to take someone from work because he is supposedly a huge fan of the band. She also tells me he's gay. I am upset, but I decided not to start a fight about it. She goes to the concert and they wait outside near the band bus after the show is over. The bassist from the band starts to talk to her, and she flirts with him. He asks if she is going to their New Year's Eve show, 200 miles away. She says no because she can't afford it. He said he'll comp her tickets if she comes. She says she won't go alone. He says she can bring her friend. Now our New Year's Eve plans are ruined, because there's no way I can go too. She had joked before about having to sleep with the bassist for these tickets and VIP access. I did not find it funny, so she played it off. In the end, this is her favorite band, and I don't want her holding this over my head for the rest of our lives, so I let her make the decision herself. She decides to go with her friend from work. She texts me on the long drive there. Then when she gets the tickets, then nothing. I text her at midnight. She gives me a 3-word response. I don't hear from her again. I call her at 11:30 the next morning, and she says she is waiting at the subway station to go back to her hotel. She eventually gets home around 4:30 p.m. I ask her how it went. She says they partied all night. She took prescription drugs and drank a lot. She said she was pissed she paid for a hotel when she only slept in it for 2 hours. I asked how that was possible when she was at the subway at 11:30 a.m. She admits that she didn't use the hotel room at all, and that she must have slept in the band suite. She blames her amnesia on a hangover. Fast forward a day or so. When she gets out of the shower, I notice she shaved her pubes. I ask her when she did it. She says Friday. Here's the thing. My wife never shaves her pubes. When she does, it's a present for me. She left for work and I found a package of Summer's Eve feminine wipes in her overnight bag. Here's the other thing. I've always secretly thought she's had an odor problem, but she's certainly never done anything about it for me. This was a brand new pack. Why did she have them? So what do you think? Is she cheating? With the bassist or the guy from work? Should I confront her about it? TLDR: wife goes to a concert with a guy from work on night. Stays up all night in band suite. Can't get her story straight. Abnormal attention to vaginal hygiene. Edit: sorry this is such a horrible read. I'm literally shaking as I write this since I don't know what to do. Edit 2: this is a effed up situation for sure. But I should mention there's a reason we got married. She and I share an affinity for so many things, from music to gaming to trees to other nerdy stuff. Some people might consider us a couple that spends too much time together. The sex life has cooled off a bit, but neither of us has been left wanting. Not sure if any of this changes things. Edit 3: I think I should clarify that she got the concert tickets as a Christmas gift, but the concert was not on Christmas. The first concert was on December 30th. The second was December 31st. Edit 4: I'm trying to avoid keywords that might lead her to this thread, so I won't name the band. It's not Nickelback and it's definitely not Fish. Edit 5: she'll be home soon. Wish me luck. Update: I sat her down last night for a talk. I asked her to walk me through the night so I could better understand the details. They had tickets waiting at will call and were able to stand in the VIP section for the concert. The bar was open until about 2, at which point they were invited to the band suite. The hotel gave her free pajamas, so she wasn't wearing her dress when she went up there. It was a pretty large party, with the bassist, guitarist, cellist from the opening band, and the entire road crew. She said her friend from work was hovering around her all night, to the point of being annoying. She said she fell asleep on the floor of the living room, as did a dozen other people. Her coworker woke her up around 11 and they went to the subway. I asked her why she shaved. She said she doesn't know. What if I ended up going swimming? She said, did you bring a bathing suit? I asked, no, not to mention the fact that my wife can't swim. She'll drown in 6 feet of water with nothing to hold on to. We enjoy hot tubs, though I still wouldn't have been comfortable with her in a hot tub full of strangers. I asked her about the Summer's Eve cleansing cloths. She admitted they were for feminine odor, but said she bought them during our last Walmart shopping trip, which was the day after Christmas. If that's true, she couldn't have known she was sleeping out without me on night. She said she didn't even open them. When I checked the package again, I was positive it was unopened. I asked her to look me in the eyes and swear that there was no kissing, cuddling, or sexual contact of any kind. She did so, repeating those exact words. I also told her how hurt I was about the whole situation. I told her that if she has tickets to something, and I want to go, she is obligated to take me no matter what. If she isn't ready to make that call, then she wasn't ready for marriage. She was very resistant and used a lot of hyperbole in the conversation. The most hurtful thing she said to me was that if I was able to go on Nye, she thinks she wouldn't have had as much fun. I told her that's a fundamental blow to our relationship that should call our marriage into question. She said I was being ridiculous, so I'm pretty much right back where I started. Still not sure if she cheated. It's possible she lied. I have no way of knowing. She's acting pretty much normal at home, as if nothing happened. Still don't know what to do. I'm going to leave this up for another day or so, then take it down so she doesn't see it. Suggestions would be appreciated. Update 2. Last week, the bassist guy texted my wife and invited her to a concert in a city 100 miles away on a weeknight. She wanted to go by herself, and I brought up the events of New Year's Eve. She stopped talking to me and gave me the silent treatment for 3 days. I went on a business trip over the weekend and kept in touch with her every day. When I got back, we spent Valentine's Day together. Yesterday, I was on Reddit and saw that I had an orangered. I clicked on it, only to realize that my wife was still signed in on my computer. She used her account for Gonwald, which I knew about and supported, but what I didn't expect is that she was sending photos to guys via PM. I continued reading. One guy asked, "What's the wildest thing you've ever done?" And there it was. She responded with, "On Nye I had my first threesome with a member of a famous 90 Seconds rock band and a friend. The first thing I did was speak to a lawyer about my options. Then I confronted her about it, and she said it was only half true. She said she embellished and that her friend really is gay, and she and the bassist made out and did oral. That's when I left the apartment and headed straight for the hospital to get tested for STDs. I got back several hours later, not believing a word she said. I told her to text the guy simply, 'Did we have sex?' And if he says no, I'll believe her." She then admitted they did have sex. My whole life has been shattered. We were married for less than a year, and I invested my whole being into this 5-year relationship. I moved into the second bedroom and I'm sleeping on a futon. Our lease goes until May. I just wanted to update Reddit, since I know people rarely do that, and thank you for being there for me before. I'm in the South Jersey, Philly area and could use some love. TLDR Reddit, you were right. Update 3. 4 men. She had an affair with 4 different men over the past 5 months. The first was a guy from work she started sexting and sending racy pictures to back in October. Then she met a random guy at a concert and kissed him. She met up with him again when she was at a drive-in movie theater with a friend, where allegedly nothing happened except cuddling. She met up with him again when she was at a gay club with some friends, and he F'd her from behind in the bathroom. He drunk texted her a month later, they fought, and broke off contact after that. One night in mid-December I came home from work at 6 p.m., knowing that she got done at 2 p.m. for a company Christmas party. Her pet bunny was out of its cage and running around the apartment. She was nowhere to be found. Her car was in the parking lot. Her coat was on a chair. I called her phone and it rang from the couch. I called my mom in a panic. I ran around the apartment complex looking for her. I screamed her name. I even checked the goddamn dumpsters, expecting the worst. When she came home, an hour and a half later, the police were in my living room, and I was giving them her description. I held her so tightly. I was so scared that something had happened to her. I was in tears. A minute earlier, she was making out with the guy from work, in his car, down the street, with her hand on his DK. If she wasn't on her period, she would have had sex with him. Then there's New Year's Eve. The bassist guy likes it up the rear. When my wife and her gay friend went up to his hotel room, he asked him to F him. He did, with my wife in the room, and then the guy told him to get lost. He then had unprotected sex with her, with possible vaginal insemination. She took the morning after pill and had a pregnancy scare when she was late for her period. They continued to chat via text, email, video chat after that. Finally, she had an emotional affair with a guy she met on Reddit. They flirted via text and email, and made plans to meet in person and have sex while I was on a business trip last weekend. A friend of mine asked her if she wanted to do LSD together, and she found that to be the better option. As far as I know, she never met the guy. She continued to flirt and chat with 3 of the 4 men up until last Wednesday when I found out. I only found out about the other 2 yesterday, after I invaded her privacy and found tons of emails and chats with and about these men. I forwarded those emails to myself. I even have the t-shirt that my wife slept in that belonged to the bassist. She actually brought it into our home. I could never harm myself. But believe me when I say I wish I was dead. I wouldn't wish this pain on someone I hate. I'm weak. I'm exhausted. I can't eat or sleep. I miss her so bad, but I'm repulsed by her at the same time. I told her not to even be in the same room as me until she gets tested for STDs. I told her to email her entire family and tell them everything she did. She has a very tight family and this will likely shame her for life. I told her she needs to cut all ties with everyone and burn every bridge, including with the 2 friends she had that enabled her, if she ever wants to speak to me again. And even then, it's very likely that there's nothing to save. I feel so alone. I have friends that I've been relying on, but I can't tell if they are being supportive because they want to be and they like to have me around, or if they are simply not assholes. My confidence and self-esteem is shot. I'm doomed to be alone no matter what I do. I was already physically neglected. I am in no condition for a new relationship. and there is no way I could be intimate with this woman again. Everything I had was just ripped away. I need some cheering up. Again, South Jersey, Philly area. Thanks again for the kind words I've been receiving. Edit. She had sex with the guy from work. I'm effing done. It's over. I didn't make her write any letters or tell anyone. She can rot for all I care. I'm free from this bullcrap. Anyone for a beer. Edit 2. These posts will be coming down soon as I prepare for divorce. I hope that my story will help someone else get out of a toxic relationship as well. If you would like the name of my main account to keep in touch or just follow the story, PM me. Update 4. The past 7 months have had a lot of ups and downs. I'm in a much better place than I used to be, but still on the road to recovery. I go to therapy 3 times a month. I started running and working out frequently. I dropped from 245 pounds in February to 205 pounds this morning. I feel so much more in shape, and for the first time since high school I feel good about my body. The change has caused me to have to buy all new clothes, so I'm slowly updating my wardrobe and dressing better. I have a large pool of friends now. The friends that I spent New Year's Eve with hang out every Tuesday for trivia, and we went to the beach a few times this spring and summer. I practice with my band 3 times a week now, and our album was just released for free online. We hang out several times a week. My best friend right now is a girl I met on Reddit, unrelated to these posts. We text every day and hang out every other night, and if one of us is absent for more than 2 days we miss each other a lot. I took a trip to Puerto Rico with my mom and my aunt back in May, and it was a life-changing experience. No sightseeing or touristing. My mom grew up there and we were visiting family. I got to experience the real culture and my heritage. When I came back I was much more calm and finally had a positive outlook on life. As for my ex, the easiest, cheapest, and most painless way for us to divorce is on irreconcilable differences. For my state, that requires 18 months of living in separate residences while not having sex with each other. No problem there, 6 months down, 12 to go. I look forward to the day she no longer disgraces my last name. There is so much she is still lying to me about and so much I will never know the truth about. For a while we talked about spending time apart and after a while see if there was something there to save. She called me to meet with her a few months later, and after a long and deceitful amount of small talk she told me she had given up. She no longer wanted me back, she had quit therapy, and I know for a fact she is currently dating one of the guys she cheated on me with. To be honest, good for her. She will either wake up one day and realize how much better her life could have been with me, or she'll have a better life with this guy. Either way, I never would have wanted to hold her back from a higher state of happiness. In the meantime, I never want to see her again, outside of a courtroom. To cope with my deflated ego, I went through a period of sexual promiscuity. I picked up some self-help books, hit up the seduction subreddit, and took my new body to college parties. I went on dates with old friends I hadn't seen in 5 years. I slept around, with girls as old as 30 and as young as 18. To be perfectly honest, none of that made me feel any better. I thought that I wanted to feel young again and sow my wild oats, but the truth is I just wanted to be loved. So I'm actually dating someone right now. We connect deeply on a mental and physical level, and being with her makes me feel like I can love again. She lives an hour away, which I find to be a good thing because it keeps this from turning into a codependent relationship. I retain my independence, while still having someone who cares for me and goes out with me a few times a week. Will it last? Don't know, don't care. Living in the moment has been one of my coping mechanisms this year, so long as I live responsibly. When I'm with her, I'm happy, and that's all I care about. So this is getting long, but I wanted to thank all of the supportive commenters on Reddit. Many of you offered good advice that I took to heart, and some of you even reached out to me on Facebook. I may have been slightly jaded at the time, but the show of compassion and empathy from strangers has been truly heartwarming. I like the new me, and I hope to be better for the experience. I've only barely brushed the surface with this post, so feel free to ask me anything. TLDR: lost 40 pounds, moved, slept around, currently in a new relationship. Wife took the easy way out and gave up on life. Story 2. My husband's friend told him that I'm cheating on him and that it is best to open our relationship, that she could help us. It all started a few weeks ago when we were having dinner with some friends, and one of them in particular began to joke that after 13 years together surely one of us already got bored of the other. And she said that surely the one who got bored first was me because I'm the attractive one in the relationship. And I know that it affected my husband because that night he joked that he was actually lucky that I paid attention to him, but I thought at that moment that he would just forget about it, but he didn't. He started asking me all the time if I love him, if I'm happy with him, if I would change something about our relationship and things like that. And yesterday while we were talking about it I told him that I would not change him for anything or anyone, and he started crying, which was really weird because he rarely cries. and I didn't like seeing him like this, so I spoke with his sister, with whom he is really close. She told me that for weeks one of our friends has been telling him that he should prepare for the day that I cheat on him or leave him. And she also told him that she thinks I'm already seeing someone else, that if he wants it to be less painful for him, it's best to open the relationship. That if he wants, she and her boyfriend can help us open our marriage since it would be easier because we both know them. That this will help us because we will be able to experiment with more people and I will not get bored of him, and he will also be able to have fun with her like the lifelong friends they are. According to his sister, he told her that he hates those things, but if I want to do it, he will let me experiment with more people. And to be honest, I hate everything that has to do with open relationships too. If you like it, great, but it's not my thing. And I thought that I was always clear with that. That's why I don't even know why that friend said that. She has an open relationship, but she was never one of those people who wants everyone to be like them. She used to respect us, so I don't know what happened. How can I make him understand that she lied about me because she probably just wants to sleep with him? Update: I talked to my husband and he told me everything she told him. Apparently she's been telling him for months that he is not attractive enough to keep me for long, that love is not everything and that looks are important to everyone, and that people who say they don't care about beauty are lying. And that pissed me off so much, because for me my husband is really beautiful and I love him more than anyone in this world. If it wasn't like that I wouldn't have been with him for 13 years and she knows that. And the worst part is that my husband believed her because she destroyed his self-esteem with all those things that are not true just because she wanted to sleep with him and one of her partners with me, or at least that's what she said. She has 2 boyfriends or whatever, and one of them apparently knows me, and he told her that he would like to know if he could have a chance with me. That's why she's been messing with my husband's mind all these months. That's what she told us when we confronted her. She also admitted that she likes my husband, not romantically but physically, and that's why she also wanted to convince him to sleep with her, because she has liked him for years. Honestly, I don't understand anything about that world of having 2 or more partners, and I'm not interested in knowing anything either. I just know that I find it disgusting. If you want to have a harem, that's up to you. Personally, I don't want that, and I find it disgusting that they don't understand it. Like, respect the people that don't like that. Is that so difficult to understand? She apologized many times, but my husband didn't forgive her, and I don't intend to forgive her either. She behaved like an idiot, and it is impossible for her to win back our trust. On the other hand, my husband and I are fine. Of course, we had a lot of talks about what happened these last few weeks and about our relationship. But we're fine, and that's all that matters to me, that our little family is well, for us and for our children. Story 3. Girlfriend cheats and gets 2 STDs. My ex-girlfriend cheated on me and I am devastated. I can't believe I am typing this out today. I thought I had met my other half, the one that I would spend the rest of my life with, but I am here heartbroken into pieces. Excuse me if this is too long, but I really don't have anyone to talk to about this. My girlfriend and I met 3 years ago on Snapchat when she sent me a message after seeing that I live close by through Snapchat maps. I was a little weirded out as I was a 22-year-old kid who was really focused on his future and not really talking to anyone. The last time I was in a relationship was in primary school and I hadn't really had a proper adult relationship. For context, the reason for this is because I lived in 5 different countries as I was a professional at a certain sport. I will not name it for privacy reasons. Now don't get me wrong, I had talked to girls and even got into serious situationships with them, but ultimately it didn't work out because of my moving around or just me focusing on school, sports. Then came this beautiful girl that sent me a message. I thought she was gorgeous. Because of this I was extremely suspicious. However, after some time of talking I started letting my guard down. We really fell for each other, and I can say I was in love with her. We finally met when I was home alone and I invited her over just to hang out. I completely trusted her as we had talked close to a year. We started dating roughly 2 years ago and things started off great. We were going out on dates and just showing each other we loved each other. I would sometimes bring her food on her lunch breaks, and mind you, she worked a 30-minute drive away from where we lived. She mentioned how she had never been treated this well by somebody. Flowers, trips to the city, movies, games, etc. I thought I had found one for me. She had just graduated from college, and she presented herself as very smart. Everything about this girl was all I needed. The problem started when she suddenly told me she wanted to move about 2 hours away because she wasn't doing well with her dad. I completely understood but felt some type of way because I really wanted her close to me. Luckily, I got a work-from-home internship job in tech and went to school online, so it was easier for me to visit. I would try to visit her every weekend if I had the chance. She asked for a break and said that it would just be the same but no labels. Everything in my guts was telling me she was cheating now and needed an excuse when she did so, if she got caught. Like a fool I fell for this and agreed to her terms. After a few months she suddenly told me she wanted to visit home. She was born here in America, but her mom lives in Africa. This is when I believe I should have stood my ground and broken up with her. What was she thinking? There are no jobs in Africa, you have a car note to pay, and student loans that need to be repaid. She just kept saying her mental health wasn't the best and thought going to Africa would be best. I gave in because I wanted to see her happy like a fool again. She left in August of 2022 and said she'd be back by December. We were still talking a lot and I decided to send her $300 a week so she can pay her loans and car note off. I thought this would ease her mind so that she could focus on her mental health. Instead of coming back in December, she decided not to because she said she wasn't ready and only came back in March. From January to March, she met some new girls who she started going out with every weekend. I just thought it was important for her to do so she could keep her mind occupied. We stopped talking as much and I was okay with that because she was finally going out and having fun. When she came back in March, I picked her up at the airport. We went to Target to get her all the essentials so she could start afresh with everything. We bought literally everything. That whole 2 weeks I got tied up with work as we had a large workload from getting a new client. It was also finals, so I had to study extra hard. She started showing me more interest, asking me to come see her as she hadn't slept with anyone in almost a year. LOL. I went to see her one day when I had finished work and we had a great time. Later that week she went to Planned Parenthood to go for her yearly visit. She called me 2 days later to confess that she tested positive for GRE. And the clap, I was shocked because I had not slept with anyone, and I had gotten tested twice from both of my yearly checkups during the time she was gone. She confessed she had gone to an old school friend's house and slept with him when everyone was asleep. I was so devastated and disgusted. She told me this yesterday and my mind has just been a mess. Now I know I'll recover from this, but it really hurts because she has not talked to him or even seen him since. I was there for her, supported her financially and emotionally. I'm the one who helped her move. I bought her new stuff like pillowcases, mattresses, bed covers, nightstands, etc. when she moved out of her parents' house. I literally did everything for her, but this is how I get repaid. Now people, just for clarity, I was a professional. I have a really good body, probably in the top 5% of men. Although I'm just shy of 6 feet, I look pretty good. I am handsome, and although these things are irrelevant in my opinion, I was a good guy and loved her and supported her, which are the important things in a relationship. As I type this out, I can't help but think where I got it wrong. I will call my doctor today and book an appointment for a blood and urine test to see if I am okay. I just don't know about this life anymore. Thank you for reading my story. For those who gotten this far, feel free to ask any questions if you have. Story 4. Husband and I opened our relationship and now everything is terrible. My husband and I have been married for 6 years, together for 8. My husband, I'll call him Eric, has always been a really intense person, but he's a good man. When we got together, I noticed he had a much higher sex drive than I did, but I would usually have sex with him when I wasn't in the mood anyway because I love him. He's never vocalized any problems until somewhat recently. I should also mention, just before we got married we talked about having kids. I'm indifferent to kids whereas he doesn't want them, so agreed not to have them. Over the last year my sex drive has been almost non-existent. I've been checked by doctors and they say nothing is wrong physically, but I should talk to a therapist, which I haven't done yet. I haven't even been able to just have sex with him to have sex like I was doing. About 4 months ago he sat me down and we talked about all this and he said he needs sex, which I told him I understood, but I can't give that to him right now. We argued for a bit and he ended up sleeping on the couch. In the morning he suggested we open the relationship. I was heartbroken. He explained that we either give this a try or end the relationship. So I agreed. We set boundaries. No bringing the person to our house ever, no talking about it, always use protection and regularly get tested. He agreed to all of this. I was actually surprised how okay I was with this as the months moved along. Even when he'd text me that he's going to be late, or when he'd kiss me and tell me his plans that night, it almost felt like a burden was lifted from me. Well, yesterday my husband sat me down again and said something really difficult to tell me. For the last couple of months he's been seeing this one girl and she's pregnant. I think I dissociated a little because I heard him talking but couldn't understand the words he was saying. When I came back to reality I asked if it was his and was she keeping it. Yes and yes, and he plans on being in this child's life actively. I asked him who she was and he told me. It's someone I know, not well, but I do know who she is. I'm utterly heartbroken. I haven't told family or friends yet, so I asked him not to. I asked him if he wants a divorce, he didn't say no. He's basically leaving it up to me. So I guess my question is, do I cut my losses and move on or give this marriage another try? Update: we're getting a divorce. He came home yesterday afternoon and we had a long, very emotional talk. I asked him questions that I never asked when he told me she was pregnant. He admitted to not using protection. He says he never slept with her before we opened the relationship, but he did kiss her. He said she's the only one he's slept with. He said the night before he gave me the open or divorce ultimate, when we argued about sex, was a last-ditch effort to get me to work on things. He admitted that he should have just asked for a divorce instead of asking to open the relationship. He also said I share some blame in this marriage falling apart, which I agree with. I asked him if he remembers if I was always like this. He said in the first 1-3 years of our relationship I was enthusiastic about having sex even if my sex drive was low. He admitted he hasn't been in love with me for a while, and he is in love with this other woman. I asked why he suddenly wants kids. He said he's slowly changed his mind about kids over the years but never said anything because our relationship has been so broken that it wouldn't have mattered. He thinks I didn't go to therapy because of my parents. They're very conservative and religious and believe if you pray hard enough God will give you the answer, and he thinks I subconsciously have an aversion to therapy because of them. I asked him if he hasn't been in love with me for a while, why not divorce me when he realized that? He told me he loves me, and he was in love with me once and he wanted to make his marriage work. When he kissed her he realized it was probably too late but said there was a part of him that didn't want to leave me. He never expected to fall in love with her. He asked me if I was still in love with him and I said I didn't know. He said that probably means no. We agreed a divorce is the best thing we can do for ourselves and each other. We also agreed to make the divorce as painless as possible. I want to sell the house. He agreed and said he'll move out in the meantime. He said whatever he doesn't take with him I can keep or sell. We didn't talk about alimony or anything. I'll let my lawyer and his lawyer deal with that, but I'm not sure I'm entitled to it since I work a decent job, and from what I've read, in my state that might be enough for a judge to say no. I feel pretty numb right now. I don't think I have the energy to cry anymore. I still haven't told anyone. He said he'll wait to tell people until we get lawyers involved because it's going to be a mess with family and friends once they find out. Anyway, that's all. He's gone and I'm laying in bed, still processing everything. Surprisingly, I don't hate him. I'm not mad. I made a promise to myself to contact a therapist on Monday and I'm holding myself to that this time. I want to thank everyone for the advice, as harsh as some of it was.